It is 6:03 in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, and you're listening to Eat, Play, Live with me, Andi P, the show that's chasing dreams and crushing goals. My goal here is to help you live a healthier, happier, more balanced life every day of your life. That's right. And our focus for this year is learning to love ourselves unconditionally in whatever surroundings or situations we may happen to find ourselves in. Yeah, that's going to be our topic for tonight, is those particular situations. So the thing that kind of made me think of this was those flowers. Every once in a while, right, you'll be walking down the street and you'll see a random flower growing through a crack in the sidewalk. You know what I'm talking about? I had a cousin that actually posted a picture of one of those the other day, and the same thing that I always feel when I see those. I just love those flowers. They could grow anywhere, right? They could be out in a field where it's easy to just pop right up through the dirt, but no, they're going to find the least likely place to be able to grow, and not just grow, but bloom. They look just as good right there, having grown through that adversity, as if they were in a garden or any other place. So, man, if a little flower can have the tenacity to push through a break in the concrete, or if you've ever gone hiking out at Enchanted Rock, on the top of that giant granite rock, there are flowers growing. How on earth do they do that? It would be so much easier to grow really practically any other place, right? And sometimes we look around at our present situation and we think, I can't do it here. I can't do what I need to do. I can't be me in this place that I'm in, whether it's a physical place or just a situation that you're in the middle of. And every ounce of your being says, let me just escape from this. Let me just get out of here. If I were just in a bigger city or a smaller town, or maybe if I were just closer to my family who could help me, or maybe if I was just a lot farther away from my family, whatever the situation, I could grow and blossom so much easier in a different environment. Well, I get it. I get it. I have that feeling all the time. But the truth is, wherever you go, there you are. You're still going to have to deal with the stuff. So what you going to do? What can you do? Well, let's talk about some strategies for loving yourself in the midst of growing through the most challenging situations, whatever they are. You can still love yourself through it. And you have to love yourself through it, because you can't love others unless you figure out how to love this guy. Okay, so let's start first by loving ourselves by nourishing our bodies. This is eat, play, live, after all. So let's start with the eat. Because, as you probably know, a lot of times when we're dealing with tough situations, tough emotions, what's our go-to? Comfort food. Yeah, that's right. So whether you're a stress eater or you've just had it and I don't care anymore, I'm gonna have some ice cream and I'm probably gonna put some Kahlua on it, because that's gonna make it even better, and that's gonna make me feel the stuff that I don't want to feel even less. Yeah. How's that working out for you? I know. It's totally human nature to act out when we get in situations that are causing us a lot of angst or stress, whatever you want to call it. We act out. That's what we do. We're children. We never grow up. Do we? Do you feel like you're a grown up yet? I don't. I kind of pretty much feel the same way as when I was 13 years old and acting out. Yeah, I know. Adulting. We're just not cut out for this. So the deal is, though, when it comes to food, when we make these decisions on what we're going to stuff our face with based on the feelings that we're having right now, we're not making self-loving choices. Our body, our health is what's going to pay the price for us acting out in that way. So let's set ourselves up for success. Okay. We know that stressful times are going to come. We know that things are going to piss us off or whatever, and we're going to want to reach for whatever your comfort food is. Will set yourself up for success. So when you're having a day, a moment where you're feeling strong and you're like, I got this. I know that I need to feed my body better. I know that I need to take better care of myself. That is the time to go ahead and write out maybe what you're going to eat this week, what meals you can prepare this week so that you can be successful. Head on right on down to the store. Do it right now while you're feeling that strength, and load up on the food that you need to be eating, and throw out all the crap that you've got in your house that it's going to be your go-to in those weak moments. Just get rid of it. I'm sorry if you spent money on it. You shouldn't have done that. Just get rid of that. And a lot of weeks I give you specific examples of food to eat, food not to eat. So if you need to go back and revisit that, you can always go to my Facebook, eatplaylive.andy, and on that page, every show I've ever done. So, and I try to have them labeled so you can go through and find some of the ones where I talk about specifically what you should be eating. But, honestly, it's not that hard. I think for the most part, what you have in your house that you shouldn't have. In fact, I have a friend that posts a lot of very interesting, very funny, very witty things, but he's been on a weight loss journey and he just recently broke the 100-pound. Like, that is such a huge line to cross, right? He's lost 100 pounds and still going strong. Yeah. He had a little bit to lose. So he posted this on his Facebook. It said, you want to lose weight? Look at what your fat friends are eating. Don't eat that. There you go. I mean, it really doesn't get much simpler than that. And a few people were like, oh, I can't believe you said that. Why do we have such a hard time saying fat? When we're talking about people, we're so afraid that we're going to offend someone. And yeah, I mean, it's tacky to, okay, I would not ever go up to someone and tell them that they're fat. But then on the flip side, there's such a double standard, right? So I think about when I was going through my weight loss journey, as I lost a lot of weight, people did not have any problem saying, you're getting too skinny. Your face looks so drawn. You look tired. Are you becoming anorexic? Well, okay, why is there such a double standard? Why can we tell people you're too thin, you don't look healthy, but the minute people start to gain a little weight, we're like, oh, we better not say anything. We're going to offend them. I wish somebody had told me, honey, that ranch dressing you're dipping everything in, it's going straight to your butt. Because it was. They would not have been lying. Yes, it would have hurt my feelings, but maybe I would have stepped away from the ranch dressing 10 years earlier than I did. Just saying. One of the biggest things, and I hate to have regrets, but one of the biggest things I do regret is that I didn't change and start this healthy eating, healthy living process until I was in my 30s, mid-30s. Man, think of the fun I could have had in my 20s if I'd have got all hot back then. I'm just saying. I know I went off on a tangent there, but it's just interesting to me that we can be so offended by the word fat. It is fat that we are carrying on our bodies that make us overweight. Okay. So anyway, the word fat, let's just stop thinking of that as a bad word. I mean, look at the avocado. Avocados are a healthy fat. They're a good fat, and they show us that there is such thing. So we do not have to be so upset by that word. remember, just wherever you're at, even if you're not at your goal weight, even if you have a lot of fat to lose, love yourself right where you're at. You're still you. You're still amazing, no matter where you are along the journey. Now, make the decision to get healthy for you, not for anybody else, what they say, what they think. We don't really care about that, but because you want to stay on this earth as long as possible, because there are so many fun things that you get to do when you're healthy. Yeah. And there's time to do that. When you feel good, you've got the energy, and you can go out there and do all these things. Let's do them. Yes. So the next way to love yourself during challenging situations is, of course, going out and doing the things, right? Go outside and play. Yes. Eat, play, and live. Fresh air and sunshine. I say it all the time. Those are the key ingredients to feeling so much better. So on that note, I couldn't help but think about, man, living in Texas. Okay, it's a little tough to get outside and enjoy the sunshine right now because it's on overload and we're kind of all done with it. We'd really like some clouds and rain and I get it. But something to keep in mind is all this time that we're spending indoors in the massively air-conditioned world that we live in. Isn't it ridiculous how cold you are? Like you go in a restaurant and freeze. Why does it have to be so cold? It's so hot outside. You're just freaking out your body. But the deal is spending all your time indoors in an air-conditioned environment is actually not great for your health. Yeah, seriously, like people who work in air-conditioned buildings are at greater risk of what experts call sick building syndrome. Makes sense, right? Especially if that air isn't being well circulated, then you get symptoms like headaches, dry cough, dizziness, nausea, trouble concentrating, fatigue, sensitivity to odors. This is describing a lot of my old coworkers, and I'm starting to wonder if maybe we weren't all suffering from this. Also, respiratory problems are a lot more prevalent with people who work in those kind of super air-conditioned, non-open kind of environments. You need natural ventilation. We need some air, people. Artificial air is not going to keep you healthy. And our allergies are a lot worse when we're working inside all of these, unless the air conditioning systems are kept super clean and well maintained. Then it can actually help your allergies. So that one can go both ways depending on whether they're keeping up with the maintenance or not. Being in AC all the time will dehydrate you. You need to drink. You think, okay, well, I'm not outside sweating, so I don't need to drink as much water. You still do, because that air conditioner is actually pulling water from your skin and drying it out, drying you out. I need some lotion right now, just thinking about that. It dries out your eyes. You ever notice that? Your eyes feel a lot drier when you're in a big, heavily, especially if they got the fans and the blowers going. Oh, man. I don't love air conditioning. I mean, we need a little, but what do you keep your house set at? I keep mine at like 77, 78. I know, my poor son. He's like, it's so hot in here. Turn on a fan, man. That's just how we got to do it. But the thing is, when you're so used to being in these frigid conditions, it lowers your heat tolerance. So the hot feels hotter. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know this. We adapt to it. You just, in fact, they call it the adaptive comfort model to describe, scientists call it that, to describe why spending more time in air conditioning makes it harder to deal with the higher temperatures. So your ideal temperature depends in part on what you've recently been exposed to. Yeah. Your body adapts. So if you want to get in the habit of keeping your house not quite so cold, maybe you'd like to save a buck or two Of course, I got to say you should get solar, but also you should get used to turning that thermostat up just a little. Maybe turn it down a little bit at night, but get yourself used to not having it quite so cold. You will adapt. I promise you, you will get used to it over time and you don't need it, but you think you do. You won't need to keep it quite so cold. You know what else? Okay, so if you have an older AC unit, it can really pollute the outdoor air. Yeah, those older units, they release what they call CFCs, which is chlorofluorocarbons. Chlorofluorocarbons, that's kind of a fun thing to say. But this is a refrigerant that can harm our ozone layer, and we're trying not to do that because we do a good enough job heating up our Earth without adding that too. So the U.S. Clean Air Act did begin phasing these coolants out during the 90s, but there's still some around. And in other parts of the world, there's still lots around. So yeah, leave it to us to mess up our Earth. So the upside, there are a couple of upsides of AC. It can boost your metabolism. What? I know. It's not just AC, just being in the cold. And I know I've talked about this in the past. When you spend a lot of time in a cold environment, it actually will boost your metabolism. So keep in mind, if you're keeping your AC, you thinking that's going to help you burn those calories, you also have to keep it cool during the winter. You can't crank up the heat all winter. That's not going to work. You got to stay at that kind of cooler temperature. So it also helps you think. There was a study done by Harvard, so of course they're smart, in 2018, that they studied some students and they were living in dorms without AC during the summer months, and their test scores, not so great. You actually do better on cognitive tests when your body is kept a little bit cooler. It does help you sleep. That's not a myth. It does help you sleep to keep your room, experts say, between 60 and 67. I would freeze, but it will help you sleep. And during heat waves like we have been experiencing, air conditioning can save lives, because if your body gets completely overheated, in fact, if your body temperature goes above 102 degrees, you are at risk of heat exhaustion, nausea, cramps, dizziness, feeling faint. If you heat up more than that, you could get heat stroke, and that is no joke and no laughing matter. So we have to be careful. We can't spend all our time in the AC, but we also have to be careful. So if you are playing inside, do keep this in mind, okay? Drink lots of water. Make sure you're getting your electrolytes. Find some shade. Take breaks. Yes, you have to be smart. I'm pretty sure I've told you that I'm training for this hotter than hell 100-mile bicycle ride. Speaking of doing things that are not smart in the heat. Well, so preparing for that, I have to take really, really long bike rides in the heat to get my body adapted to do this kind of event. And it's for real. I did a 60-mile ride last weekend, and at one point I had to pull over, find some shade, and just sit down for a minute. I had lots of water. I had my electrolytes. I had salt tablets. I had my energy gels, all the stuff. I had all the stuff that you need. Be really careful. Start early in the morning. Did all those things, but still 5 hours in, it wasn't early in the morning anymore, and it was really stinking hot. So find that shade, cool off. It can be done safely. And that is what me and all the other crazies that are out there training for this particular event are learning to do, is to prepare safely so that the race itself can be done safely, and we can all be like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of it, but we will have done it. It'll be another thing to check off that bucket list, because we want to live while we're here and enjoy life to the fullest. And I know that the kind of training and stuff that I do may sound absolutely crazy to you, and you are probably correct, but it's my therapy in tough situations. When things have me struggling to love myself, that's my go-to. So what's your go-to? You have to have a thing, right? For me, it's how I prove to myself over and over and over that I'm stronger than I think I am. And I feel like that's something that we need, a thing that can be our go-to when times get tough, when we need like just that little extra oomph, right? Well, here's a couple of tips. Remember, you have more options than you realize. You know what I'm saying? Part of what makes getting through hard times challenging is the belief that you have no options, no choices. I had somebody say that to me recently. Well, I guess I have no other choice. Well, I know feeling powerless isn't pleasant. You've got to remind yourself, you always have choices. There are always different things you can do or ways you can think about your situation. So how you choose to handle this difficult situation is one of those choices. How are you going to handle it? What you going to do? Pay attention to all the things that are good in your life. No matter what you're going through, everything is not bad. That's not possible. There are good things. Maybe you lost your job, but you're still really healthy and you've got this great family. Or maybe you're getting divorced, but you have awesome friends that are by your side and you have a cool job and your kids rock. There are always good things. And when it comes to the divorce front, I wanted to say, think of someone you know who's gotten divorced. Because when you're in the beginning stages, it can feel really overwhelming and really like no one will ever love me again. I'll be alone forever. I'll be that cat person. Okay, think of someone you know, and I guarantee you know a lot of someones who've been divorced, because most of us have been. And they're happier now, and they're better off now, and they're living their best life. Think of that person and realize, honey, you're going to get there. Give yourself time. It's not going to happen today. Give yourself a minute, but it's okay. There are things that are still good in your life. Another little strategy is think about the best thing that happened to you last year. Think about who in your life is the most important to you right now. In fact, go through and make a list. I love to give you things to do. Make a list of 20 positive things in your life right now, and then notice how much better you feel after you make that list. I promise you, it will help you relax and cope. If you spend all your time focusing on the thing that isn't working, the thing that is making you miserable, and that's what we do, we're like, get all tunnel vision on, I gotta fix this thing. Yeah, I'm talking to myself right now. I know. But you will only succeed in making yourself more miserable. You gotta focus on the good stuff. And then look for solutions. You're not stuck. Focusing on your difficulty is natural, but ineffective. It is. It saps your resources. It wears you out. Decide you're going to find a viable solution. It doesn't have to be the perfect solution, just a decent one. Yeah. Isn't that funny? We're like, no. And then we second guess just give yourself some time, brainstorm it out. Don't take more time than necessary. But when you take one step at a time, you'll realize you are doing something. You are working in the direction of solving the problem. And if you just take one step at a time and you realize, okay, that step was not in the right direction, it's pretty easy to backtrack one step. When you totally just jump off the cliff into your decision, a little bit harder if you're halfway through the fall and you go, oh, wrong cliff. There's no water down there. It's a little harder to come back from that. Just one step at a time, and another thing that you can do is think of the very worst case scenario, right? Like, okay, I really hate my job and I want to quit. What is the very worst case scenario? I will lose everything. I will never find another job. I will lose my house and I'll be living on the street. And you just have fun with it. That sounds weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine the very worst scenario and then take a look at that and go, what are the odds that's what's really going to happen? Right? Really? You're never, ever going to find another job? You're never going to figure out another way to make another cent in your life? Not very likely. Yeah. So sometimes you can take it all the way there just to help yourself see that you're getting silly. You're just you're just letting your mind go a little wacky with some of that stinking thinking. So we're going to stop all that. That's right. And we're going to work on getting back to living our best life, no matter what the situation. Oh my goodness. I am Andi P, and I'm reminding you that the only thing we are absolutely guaranteed in this life is change will happen. No matter how stuck you think you are, everything will change. People change, situations change, weather patterns change. It will happen. Rain will come. I promise. One of these days, they all change. And you are just as worthy of love in your present situation as you will be in tomorrow's situation. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly, you got this, kid. So keep doing that. And until next week, thank you for tuning in to Eat, Play, Live.